actually scratching a ticket. Can I walk out back?
Yeah.
I mean,
no, that's just I communicate with that.
It's not just ghosts. It's not just cryptozoology or aliens. It's all of it.
And what are we doing today, Matt?
Almost like Chewbacca. Like, you guys want to do a little beatbox live? Hello? Anybody hear me? Check 1 2 check.
The person you're trying to reach.
Check 1 2 check. I can't hear anything in here. Huh. Well, something went crazy. We went on to Instagram Live. Steve, can you hear me? Backstage? Wave your hand. Yeah, everybody can hear me but me. Well, that's great. Let's see. I am trying to hear things and I cannot. We just went on Instagram. Anyways, welcome to Banter with Richie B, man. We'll try to figure this out as we go forward. We just did a different format tonight. Live on Instagram or something like that. I didn't even get to watch my video coming in this time. I have no idea. Welcome to the P3 Network, Get Haunted Network platform. Let's go, all my fellow podcasters. What's happening? Yeah, so it's been a crazy week, man. Been a crazy week. How's everybody's week going? Everybody having a good time? I hope so. Tonight, I wasn't going to do a show because of the holidays and all that, like I said last week. And then all of a sudden I said, you know what? Maybe this should happen. You get that creative flow going, You hear me on iTunes? Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate it. I can't hear anything in my ears, so usually I can hear things going on, but I don't know. We're trying different things. So tonight we went live on Instagram for the first time. If you're going to Facebook or whatever the case might be, you got to click on the link to get to my YouTube to watch it. And YouTube. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you supporting me being here. And I'll keep my eye out for whatever you do, wherever you are, sir. What's up? Oh, I see. Senior and Junior. That's right. I never had you both in here at the same time. What's happening, man? Welcome to the show. So, hey, something cool this week, what I got going on, right? Let me see if I can talk in here and here. I can't even hear anything on my mic. But anyways, check 1 2. Usually I can do radio voice and hear myself, but not today, Jim. So what we're going to do, man, we're going to go to this week. I figured I'd bring on Steve Wojo, my buddy who was a guest investigator, went out Bigfooting with me and the Burks, a couple weekends ago, whatever it was. And it was pretty awesome, man. We found some really, really cool stuff, and I thought it was worthy of having that extra show tonight to bring him on and have him give a little perspective from a guy that's been out in the woods, had a family of hunters and stuff like that. So he's seen some things out there, and even he was I'll let him speak for himself completely. I'm not even going to tell you what he was, up, down, left, or right, mad that he went, sad that he went, happy that he went, astonished at what he saw, any of that stuff. I'm going to let him tell you straight up exactly what he feels, without any kind of manipulation or anything like that, because I learned a long time ago during investigations in the paranormal world that you just don't really lead people into things. You kind of validate in a backwards kind of way. You know what I mean? So I've been in situations where you just go, what did you hear? Rather than just telling them what you heard, let them tell you, and then it will validate what's in your mind. So I want him to validate things for you, anyways, listen, I want everybody to check us out. Make sure you like and subscribe to YouTube. Make sure you go on Instagram and follow, especially if we're going to be doing live on Instagram going forward. Make sure you check us out on TikTok, banterrichieb.com, banterrichieb/shop. Check that out. We got a lot of great products in there. I want you guys to check that out and definitely be part of my show. Always be part of my show. Always interactive. I'm looking at ways to get you guys links so you can jump on with us. And really be, you can even go on here face to face if you got the right stuff. You don't jump in and ask the guest questions and things like that. So, right on screen. I'm looking to do fun stuff like that. I want everybody involved. So, but tonight, what we're going to do is I'm going to go over some some evidence that we found when we were out and different discussions, and not necessarily, maybe it's not evidence. I don't know, but I would like different perspective and different opinions and different theories, because a lot of things I believe in, like structures, and I believe in like twists and breaks and bends. I believe in those things. There's just been too many unanswered questions that it leads me down the path of believability. So I've gone to a lot of expert, people in the field, in the research field, and they some don't believe, they don't go that far. They don't feel it's scientific enough, I guess. And that's fine. I respect that. No doubt about it. But there is a time when you've been out in the woods enough to where you got to look around and go, that don't make sense. And you got to kind of back it up and try to figure out exactly what you're doing. You know what I mean? And what you're looking at. Yep, there we go. I think we're up on, let me just check. I'm going to make sure we're up on Instagram. Fine. We're doing a little test too. So you're part of my test this week. Let's see. Let me just check this out. There's Mary. Hi, Mary. How are you today? So here, let's do this. Because again, I can't hear nothing. So, nope, YouTube, he said. That's right. And then we got Andrew and Senior and Junior here tonight, which I think is really cool to see you guys. I'm super pumped to meet everybody on the Get Haunted Network and support you guys. Always reciprocate. You know what I mean? Give it back. You know what I mean? Turn it over. And this is my old friend, Mary Newbert. You guys heard about her. A very loyal friend of mine. Love you, Mary. Thank you for coming tonight. So I'm going to test out my sound, and I'm going to bring Steve up now. It's only 7 past, and usually I go a little bit longer, but tonight's probably going to be a shorter show. Again, the holiday break. Everybody took the holiday break, and I figured I would jump in here. I think there's only like a few podcasters really going. So we'll see how it goes. You know what I mean? We'll play it by ear. And then I'm going to have my expert guest that I call my expert guest. He's probably too humble for that. Mike Trainer. He's been on my show couple times now. And he's going to be a reoccurring role when it comes to Sasquatch and research and evidence. And I really love his educated opinions, or, whatever it might be. He has a lot of knowledge about it. And I really value what he has to say. So he's very important to me in my research. And when we go out into the woods, and we're talking, we're doing Bigfoot stuff. He's monumental in how I think, you know what I mean? So, and what I see and the discussion we have, we can kind of bounce things off each other, and there's no hard feelings if one disagrees with the other. It's really good, and it's really the way it should be done. So he'll be here tonight. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring Steve to the stage and see if he can actually hear me this time. So here, I'm going to unmute his mic, and then I'm going to add him to the stage. And Steve, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Rich. How you doing?
I can hear you now. This is crazy. So as soon as everything started, usually I get to watch my video, and then I come in and I can hear myself through this thing here, which now I can. And I couldn't hear nothing. It was just a black screen, and my clip didn't play. Did you see my promo video? Did it come in? No. Anybody on the side? Did my promo video come in? Like it does every week? You usually have that video. It goes bam, 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 and it talks about.
Yeah, it did.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, it did. I'm sorry. I was distracted. Car count came by here.
Oh, okay. Look I got somebody talking smack about you as soon as we walked in. You read the comment?
Oh, God, that's my brother.
What's up, bro? Welcome to the show, man. Yep. I'm here with your brother. He's heading into that abyss. You know that your brother knows the abyss, right? The rabbit hole. You've jumped into the rabbit hole, Mr. Wojo, right? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Wojo's here, and he's jumped into the rabbit hole. Hey, a lot of people on the side here get it. You know what I mean? A lot of guys that do paranormal investigations and people on this network get it. It's the same rabbit hole when you're looking for a crypto and you're out looking for ghosts or evidence. It's almost the same stuff. You know what I mean? And you want to investigate the same way, So for me, that's what I found, you know, because I've done both now. Are you paying attention to the show, Steven?
I am. My roommate just walked to go. What's going on?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
He just
Hi,
got
roommate.
from work.
Oh, hey, roommate. How was work today, man? I mean, seeing how we're just taking a time out to welcome people into your house and all. Hey, what's up, bro?
Welcome to Wojo's rabbit hole. Everyone's coming in. Dogs, everybody.
Yeah, we've all seen weirder, man. You know what I mean?
Oh, yes, we have.
Okay, on to the next subject, Jim. As a matter of fact, speaking of weird, man, if you missed the episode of Alphabet Soup last week, I'm sorry. I felt it was epic. Listen, there was a lot of poop talk, a lot of testosterone, a lot of, you know, nonsense, as you would call it. But, man, I've gone back and watched that a few times and laughed my complete ass right off. I don't have one anymore. I laughed it right. It's gone. So it was just a really fun, you know, throw everything out kind of show. And then we had, in the middle of it, I noticed we had a nice little discussion about paranormal stuff. And then at the end of it, we had a nice discussion about paranormal stuff. So there was normal talk that we were having, right? But it was limited, I guess, you know. Oh, there we go. I'm sorry. I got to remember I can click the button and put it up on the screen like I have never done this before. Yeah, Andrew, wasn't that I thought it was a great time, Andrew. Feel free to chime in. Absolutely, man. I just really enjoyed it. It was refreshing. You know, it was refreshing on the holidays just to kind of laugh, find out that, you know, Rob, the co-founder and co-owner of, you know, Get Haunted, sits on an amazing bidet. You know what I mean? I mean, it was just the things you find out from asking the weirdest question. You ever ask a weird question and get an answer maybe you didn't want to know or really wanted to know? See, I really want to know things. So there's no question that will surprise me. You know what I'm saying? Or answer. What have you ever asked anybody a question and then you were like, oh. Anything?
It was, I'll tell you, Alphabet Soup was a lot of fun to watch. But I'll tell you, for your guests out of them all, he's probably got the cleanest ass out of all of us. Sorry, Rob.
This just in. We're back to the bidet talk. Anyways, that's not what the P3 network's about. Trust me. That was just a little break from everything. You know, you want to watch different investigators, real seasoned investigators with good knowledge of the paranormal world. You know, come here and check out our podcast. You know, look at all the list of podcasts that we have in place. You know what I mean? There's so many. All of them come to mind. I just can't even list them all. I should just get a list and hang them up and then just put everybody on every week. You know what I mean? That's really what we should do. I did have the ticker going 1 week with a couple of names, or 2 weeks with names on it. And I think I owe Paranormally Blonde a ticker too, by the way. I was just going to kind of wait till we got past the holidays for that, but I really should do that. You know what I mean? Where I can read it off because they're all a bunch of great people. And, you know, great. You go over to Get Haunted. Now you go over to Get Haunted's page, right? Rob, that guy, Rob and Sarah. They own all that stuff together, right? And they have some absolute kick-ass like equipment that you like your brother would, you know, uses all the time. I'm sure your brothers use all the time. And what they do is now he's engraving them and personalizing them. So if you're part of like Dale from like say the Paranormal Voice, he wants a what was that? A whatever box, you know what I mean? A spirit box. Yeah, now he can have it. Now he can have his name and his logo engraved on that thing. Mm-hmm. And they can take that with them, right? Two good things about that. One, it looks kick ass, and we all love those personalized things, right? So, and two, when you're out with other investigators, you know what your stuff is, right? You're like, oh, which one's I've done that. Is that your K2? Is that your recorder? That looks like my recorder. You know, whatever it might be. You know, I'm sure the biggest stuff is easy to engrave, but it's pretty kick ass. So, anyways, if you're down with all that stuff, and I definitely am, and I've had personal experiences of it. As a matter of fact, coming up, I just got to work with the network. I don't want to step on no one's toes, so I want to pick a day, and then we're going to get into ghosts and stuff, and then it would be super awesome. Yes, that was it. Thank you. That was it right there. Yeah, and I'd love to have your brothers on background, and I want to meet up with your brothers and definitely get them on the show. I'd love to catch their angle on all this.
Just a quick recap, Rich, to everybody. My brothers, Mark and Matthew, they've done paranormal. They've done it for a long time. They've been around everywhere. So I'm not going to spoil it, but they have some good stuff. Once we talk to Richie, and I'll tell you, it's paranormal is like really cool stuff. And I was hoping if my work schedule didn't keep coming in the way, I would have loved to come and join them. But obviously there's a conflict, but I can't wait, to just show everybody of what the paranormal, of what's going on, between, between shadows, between orbs and things like that. So looking forward to seeing more on the paranormal along with Bigfoot. So, I mean, like I said, you run a great podcast. I just can't wait to see more.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Thank you. And my thing is this, a lot of people, like I said, and I get it, they're on different stages, so to speak, right?
Right.
That I'm kind of here, but I have my mind is wide open. I got like a 30-lane highway, right? And me and the others go cruising down it sometimes with a ape hangers, you know what I mean? And we're just ripping down. And my mind is everywhere, dude. So there's not anything on either one of these fields that I don't investigate or take as a theory. Whereas like I said, some people don't believe in structures, some people don't believe in orbs, so and stuff like that. And I get it. And sometimes it falls under not scientific enough. Totally respect that. And one of our guests that we're going to have on next, he's backstage now, Mike Trainer. He's a scientific dude, you know what I mean? And we've had that discussion, and he's even has more of a percentage of believability than I do when it comes to Bigfoot. And right. but yet he's very scientific. So there's a great mix of thoughts in mind. So I like to investigate everything. And it doesn't mean I'm out in the woods going, oh, that was Bigfoot. Oh, that was Bigfoot. Oh, that was Bigfoot. Oh, ghost. That's not what I'm doing. I'm trying to go out there and peel back the layers of the onion until we get a proper answer. Right. Or just, watery eyes maybe, right?
It's all about observing, Rich. And that's for everyone out there. I've been a hunter for many years. I've hunted with my brothers. I got 4 other brothers, cousins and friends. We had a big group. But when you go out in the woods, you're just observing everything. And like Rich said, you can't just say, oh, that's Bigfoot, that's Bigfoot. But, you just have to observe and, check your surroundings. And, you kind of want to see like trees down, like how did it go like that and things like that. But we'll get into that more when, Yeah,
and I got a slideshow coming up, and we're going to kind of pick apart what we found and stuff. But I want to have a personal discussion. I'm actually going to bring Mike up to the stage because I don't want him to sit backstage all by himself back there. He looks very upset. You okay, Mike? You okay? Every time on these things in StreamYard, they have the little windows underneath, right? And I see people backstage. I'm like, it's okay. You okay? Because I got 6 kids, and that's what I've done all my life. So immediately I say, give me hugs. You know what I mean? so I'm like, just get up on stage and we'll just figure it out as we go. You know what I mean? Yes, I got a game plan. Yes, I have an idea for tonight. Walter Burke, what is up, my dude?
Hey, Walter.
Walter Burke, I cannot wait for Saturday, my man. We're going to talk about that very soon, about what we have planned. So listen, I'm going to welcome my buddy and fellow investigator, Mike Trainer, to the stage right now. There he is. That's Mike. Can you hear me, Mike? Oh, I can hear him perfectly. This is
sweet.
Brilliant.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Steven. Nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you, man.
Yes. Oh, here we go. Listen to this. Here's your brother. It says we. Oh, I don't know if that was a mistake. Let's see this. This is Wojo's brother. So his name's Steven, but I call him Wojo. It's an old softball thing. It's just the way it goes. He got it from football when he was in high school, so it's stuck. All right. So you can either call him Wojo or Steven or Steve or whatever. Or hey, come here. Hunted since 1989 with M2 and Scout and Experience Sense as well. And Steve has even longer. So yeah, so there's a lot of experience here. So when we were out in Western Mass, Mike, a place I tried to get you to come with me, but I know we all have those duties we must take care of in our real life. We can't just all be out Bigfooting all the time. You know what I mean?
Right. As much as we want to be, right?
Right, exactly. You got to work if you want to, be able to do that someday, right? That's what I say. I'm going to retire I'm going to retire to like the side of a mountain and look for Bigfoot the whole time. But when we were out there, dude, we had all the elements that we like, right? What are some of the known elements for Bigfoot, like location wise? Can anybody name them? Anybody? Pop quiz.
Water is the obvious one.
Water's an obvious one. That's a sign of life. Plenty of water out there, right, Steve?
Oh yeah, plenty of water, food.
Plenty of water. Moving water. Water we could have drank actually right then and there. It was crystal clear and moving, right? Yeah, food source, right? Right, food source. And then what is the big thing that we found? We actually had to walk across them to get to the location, right? Do you remember what I always pointed out? I took a picture of myself out there on them. Anything, Steve? Pop quiz, rookie. Come on, Rook. It's a highway. It's a highway.
Yeah.
What is it, Mike?
What trail?
Oh, you're talking like utility corridors and things like that.
Yes, I'm talking about power lines.
Yeah.
So the power line. This is what blew my out. Right away. You're like, ooh. You're like, yeah. Let me get over there. You know what I mean? Like I knew you could feel where we were, right, Steve? Well, first of all, just to brush up on things. Walter Burke says, "Hi, Mike."
Yeah. Hey, Walter. How's it going, man?
Now that
he's not here, right? Like, yeah.
No, I'm sorry. No, he's on the he's over on the side. Because I told him. It's funny.
He's in the rabbit hole right now.
It's funny because I texted him and Patty. I said, "Listen, I'm gonna have Steve on tonight. I want to kind of, we're gonna kind of talk about what's gonna happen next week, what we have intended for this area as far as research goes, and being very specific and how we want to go categorizing things, naming things, tracking things." So I gave them a heads up of what I was doing. But one thing I got to tell you real quick. So when we go there, we meet up with the Burks, right? And what was the discussion about? What vehicle we were going to take, right, Steve?
Yep.
And what did Walter say?
What, the electric car?
Now, we don't know where we are, right, Mike?
We have no idea. It was bizarre.
There was a discussion between those two, his sister Patty and him, right?
So, Mike, just imagine you're driving down a dirt road, and next thing you know, the road veers off to the left, but then there's another road, tow road. I couldn't believe the size of the rocks were sticking out in the water. I'm like, are we gonna like make it through with all of us in this like little pickup truck? No, he goes, oh yeah, it's electric.
Oh, great.
No,
well, dude, they're silent though sometimes, man.
What it was he had an electric RAV4, his sister's car. They were debating on which car we are gonna go out there with.
Okay,
the four-wheel drive Toyota or the electric RAV4. So all the way out there, of course, you know me, I'm just ripping them, right? So we're hitting bumps, my head's bouncing off the roof, right? And I'm going, definitely not making this in an electric RAV4, Walter.
I had Richie behind me. I felt like it was one of those La Machines. You're like, I thought I was in a spin cycle mode. I'm like, wow, this is like a wild ride that we're going through here.
Yeah, it's everything as a Bigfoot hunter that you kind of want. Because the further you went out, the better it felt. You know what I'm saying, Mike?
Yeah. And it's a fun ride to get there too, right?
Oh, it's a great. You'd have a great time in your.
Oh yeah,
I live for it, man. Let's tear it up sometime.
I will split gas costs. Just come pick me up, and we will go all the way out there.
That thing.
I thought we'd have a chiropractor on standby by the time we got there. I was like, Richie, how's your back?
Now we got to walk around for a couple of hours. Yeah. No, I'd love to get. I tell you what, I'd love to get Mike out there. Mike would absolutely.
Soon, man. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, big time.
Everything you talk about, Mike. Everything you talk about when we're out in the local area, just doing what we do, and we find plenty around here. Me and Steve will touch on that a little bit because I brought him out to my property in Bridgewater just yesterday. That was yesterday, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I can't keep up, bro. So
that's how we spend our New Year's, Rich.
Yeah, it is. And then New Year's morning, like a 9 to 1, 9 to noon deal.
Yep.
Here we go. A little message for Mike from Walter. So we went out yesterday, and we'll go over some of that stuff too. And we can find plenty of stuff in the local area, but this place out there was just a whole different ballgame. I felt, you know what I mean? I thought it was something. Have you ever been out to Western Mass, Mike, or somewhere else?
I have. Yeah. For sure.
Whereabouts? Without location, but whereabouts would you say? Was it a couple hours from here?
Around the Quabbin area, primarily.
Oh, Quabbin.
Yeah, east, west, north, south. That's a hot spot, really, because all reservoirs are hot spots. And I'm
sorry.
yes.
I'm so excited. I'm
So
so
the
excited
Squatch-
to hear about quabbing. I'm so excited to hear about quabbing. I can't
Dude.
help it. Stop. My ADD's killing me. Listen,
the Squatchachusetts guys know, but that's all over the place out there. So, but anywhere really, because you have the terrain also that we don't have here, So that also allows them to hide in areas that they might not otherwise be able to. I think.
Yeah.
What I mean? Just I'll get it up and over the hill, and then you're free and clear.
Yeah, gotcha. Do you feel there's a different technique? Or is you just stick with the same type of techniques, or is it
Do you
same type
mean
of equipment? Like
us looking for them? You mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
I think whatever you're comfortable with. I think it's best to stick with what you know. Unless you're willing to shop around and like learn new techniques and things like that.
Right.
But a lot of people are having good luck with audio, so I think that's a primary thing to go with. And you talked about how you want to get into audio because they don't seem to mind recorders or whatever, and you can capture some really great evidence that way.
It's definitely going that way.
Yeah, but otherwise, man, I like we like to find a trail and just go ramble in the woods, and I think that's what I would do out there too. Yeah.
No, I think I think so. But I did notice when I got out there, to me, it felt kind of more. I don't know. It wasn't. Maybe it's from because I'm not familiar with it as I am here. You know what I mean? And out there, I just felt like it was just like, oh my god, I got to cover here. I got to cover. It just seemed bigger. I mean, even being in Freetown State Forest, which is huge, right? It still didn't feel as big as where we were. It just felt so big. Like I go on the hello. Oh, I got slides up. Are you saying I have slides now? Yeah. Hang on. Let me welcome my producer to the stage, Miss Bobby Lee. Yes, Miss Bobby Lee.
Hi there. Yes, you do have slides, but I accidentally presented them because I had to reload my sorry about that. But you're good to go. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you can interrupt anytime, Miss Bobby Lee. Everybody, Miss Bobby Lee, let's give her a round of applause.
Why, thank you very much.
The electric slide.
Well, what the hell that that come from? 1987? that came like right out of that. Hey, where's your brother? Which brother was that was here?
Oh, that was Matt.
Hey, Matt, did you see what your brother just did, like right here on my podcast, bro? You got anything to say about that?
Oh, believe me, I get funky.
You want me to send you a link to StreamYard, Matt? Yeah. We can just rip on Steve.
Oh God,
I'll have a 2-hour show ripping on Steve. It'll be great. Yeah. So I just felt because it was so vast, it was like, I don't know. It just seemed like, I think what happens for me is you become more like a survivalist when you go to big areas. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Whereas to over here, you're like, oh, I'm right down the street. I can always get help. I slip and fall. I got telephone.
Right.
You go out there, like you don't have telephone and you got, you're feeding off a trail mix to stay alive. You know what I mean? Like that type of thing, Les Stroud or whatever,
Yeah.
Maybe that's the difference. You know what I mean? But
it could be. Right. And as long as you're prepared for it, right, then you just go,
I think for Richie, because it is, I'll tell you, being around there, I hunted up in Vermont. I've hunted up in New Hampshire, Maine. And, it's like thick areas, but there's also a lot of sound. Like there's you hear roads. There was a mill near me. Here was just like quiet, peaceful, and it's a different terrain. Like it's like virgin ground.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, it's one thing about this place is it's more, it's kind of like, when you walk in the woods, you can kind of see, if you can see a deer, 50 yards easily. But again, there's like patches of pines and what have you. So it's just like, I can see what Richie's saying. It's like, it's just dead quiet. It's just us, I get what he's saying though.
Can you share where you guys were generally, Rich?
Generally, I could say I was north central.
Okay.
Generally-ish.
Generally. Okay, so
yeah.
Leominster area, say-ish? Because that's a hot area. I'll just say Leominster.
Yeah, Leominster.
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 Oh, yeah. Why not?
Oh. Yeah, no, it was it's a great area, man. And like I said, I'd love to have you up there. So I think what I want to do tonight, a couple of things I want to do. This is the cool thing, right? No, this is the cool thing about this. This is the setup I wanted. We got Steve over here who has walked into things that he hasn't walked into before. You know what I mean? But has been out in the woods plenty of times, right? I got Mike who's here, who's been out in the woods plenty of times, but has walked into these things plenty of times, right? So I want to get a perspective on some of the questions I have. No, I'm not going to ask any party questions tonight. I apologize. I'm sorry, Steve. Don't be offended or hurt, okay? I don't want to hear about your bidet or whatever it might be, okay? But what I am going to ask about is I want to ask about the certain breaks, the certain twists. I want to discuss some of those things. And I don't want to just discuss those things because of what we saw and explain the direction they went in. You know, there's a history of, like, say, twists, for instance, or even breaks, right? The more research I do, the more I find out, like, Native Americans did it to send people in this direction or that direction. One thing I want to check real quick before we get started. Bobby Lee, I have YouTube conversation. As Instagram able to comment or ask questions? Because I only see YouTube. I know we're not on Facebook tonight and we're on the platform, but I don't see anybody from Instagram asking questions. So I'm not sure how that works because it's our first week doing that. Do you know anything about that?
Based on how I had to set it up, I'm guessing it's similar to the RTMP where we're not getting comments straight from Instagram. So if you are on Instagram and you're watching and you want to comment and have us hear you, try and switch over to YouTube. That way we can get your comments.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I noticed Sean Hailstone was following me on there, and it just came up as a notification, and he usually has a lot of questions. So, Sean, if you can hear me, man, jump over to YouTube, jump onto my page, and then you can view from there, and then that way I can see your questions and comments, and because I always appreciate them. So it's just weird not seeing you over there on the right, brother. But yeah, so sorry about that, everybody. We're trying a new format this week. We're trying to move things around. We're trying new ideas, little different things. So just bear with us as we do that. In hopes, obviously, to grow a little bit, you know what I mean, and kind of, you know, move up a little bit. So different things. So just bear with us. We appreciate the support and keep supporting us so we can stay here and talk about these cool subjects. So let's do this. Let's bring up. I'm going to drop that down. I'm going to add some slides to the stage, right? I don't know. No, we just put this together because it was my fault because I'm kind of horrible at some of this stuff when it comes to technology. Mike, I was out with my GoPro too yesterday, buddy.
Cool, man. How'd it go?
Well, I'm horrible with technology, like I just said. So
not well.
so I don't really know how it went yet. I got to open it. I haven't even looked at it yet. You know what I mean? But I noticed, I know I didn't have the right card because I'm supposed to have an updated, like, Fast V30 or something card. And it's the new 12. I don't know anything about it.
Like a class something special.
Yeah,
class
certain class. Right,
yeah.
Right. And now you carry around a couple of batteries. And I know you have an older GoPro, but that theory I think I'm going to go with, even with the newer GoPro. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's primarily because I can't charge mine anymore. So I need the extra batteries for an external charger.
Gotcha. So I'm going to grab a couple extra batteries because I think, what was it, an hour and a half into that, Steve? It died, maybe 2. I'd like to get a good 4 to 6 hours out of something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so especially if I'm going to stream live from the woods, which I'm going to do, by the way. I will be streaming live from the woods, and you're all going to come with me, and we're going to have a good time. So remember that. And let me see. Oh, here we go. Hi, I was on Get Haunted. Don't know if you saw a comment. No, I cannot see comments on the Get Haunted page. Platform either for some reason. Apparently I'm not the only one bad at technology. Technology is really bad at technology. I don't know if you guys noticed that, by the way. Your phones, there's always something with your phones. There's always something with your cable TV. It's like technology sucks at technology. You guys notice that in your life? Right? Courtney, thank you for coming on over. It's good to see you. Appreciate you. Absolutely. And Walter Burke says hello. Walter, we already said hello to you, Walter. Are you okay? Oh, you saying hi to everybody else? Sorry. So I've been noticing that. So I'm kind of getting with it as far as the GoPro goes. So, but it's the GoPro 12 Black. I don't know. It's supposed to be the newest one. I have no idea. All the new kids got it. I don't know if you know. All the good kids or cool kids. That's what it is. All the cool kids have it. Yes. Well, I'm here. Oh, I like how she has a little Look at this. Here's a little thing after her, like a little. What's that called? And Mike, what's this called? This thing?
What, the emoji or something else?
No, that little squiggly line there. There's a name for that. Hey, Bobby Lee, what's the name for this?
I just know in Spanish it's a tilde. That's all I know.
Oh, tilde. I like that. Yeah, it's Cordy's got that on her. See, look at there's one there.
But it goes over a letter.
No, look at and then there's one here. What's that called, Bobby Lee?
A tilde. It's actually very close to the Spanish tilde.
Oh, sweet.
Tilde. Yeah.
See, this is why we have him around, Steve. Huh? We got Mike here. He can make us look a little smarter, and then we pull in Bobby Lee to put on the exclamation point, buddy. Because that's the only thing I know is an exclamation point. I don't know if you noticed that. A little rough around the edges.
Rich is all caps all the time.
That's well said, man. That's well said. Rich is all caps all the time. I am. I can't help it. It's okay. Me and the others.
That's why we
don't
love
mind.
you, man.
Thank you, brother. No, I appreciate you coming on too. Like I said to Mike, I'm like, oh, I want to do this, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, sure, man. You know, it's like he wants to help out. He wants to be part of this. He wants to, you know what I mean? Like he loves
I want
to
to support you, dude. Just want to
I know,
support you.
absolutely, you do, and I appreciate and love that about you. But you also bring a lot to the table, and I want you here, so it's huge for me to have you here. In English or mathematics, it is used to say, what? In English or mathematics, it is used to say similarity or about. Well, thank you, Bobby Lee. All right, well, we'll have to set. All right, we're gonna send her backstage and leave her there. Just kidding. So listen, let's hit some clicks here. We got Bigfoot. Oh, okay. So here's one of the conversations like I just talked about, right? Is twists. Now, I know there's a lot of paranormal investigators over on the side, right? So checking this stuff out, when you look at this, the reason why I take two pictures always, you know, and I always try to get that twist around. That twist is a good degrees around. I mean, it's almost like a 180, say, right? So as an investigator, what I do, man, is I start looking around. I look up, I look left, I look right. You know what I mean? I'm trying to find out what made that twist like that, right? So this is why I put these next picture next to it is the actual whole photo of the tree. This is a fresh tree. This thing's still growing, and so to speak. So it's not even dead. So it ain't like top branches fell off or nothing, right? There's like 3 branches, man. How does a wind catch that? There's nothing on top of it. It's not snow heavy. How does that twist around like that? You know what I mean? So when you just come in walking into the woods, like Steve, just questions for you. This is probably one of the first things that you saw on your Bigfoot hunting trip because it was right up the road. I brought it up. You know what I mean? Or I brought it up later. I don't know. But either way, we saw a twist. What do you think of something like that? What does that tell you, man?
Well, you know, when we broke off and I'm like, and I could see it, I'm like, what is that? Is that a twisty? So as I approached it, first thing I'm doing is looking up above me. And just have everybody on here know that I'm just a skeptic. So I'm like, you people, you want to know what's going on. That's why I decided to go with Richie. I want to clear that up. But anyways, being a hunter, I walked in, I see the twisty. I'm looking around. First of all, I'm like, I don't see nothing that on your second picture, nothing knocked it down. There's no dents, there's no scrapes, there's no nothing. But I'm looking at the twisty. You know, when you came over, remember me and you tried to, you know, move both, you know, the top and the bottom base.
Yes.
And it was strong. I mean, that was a thick, that's a thick, you know, little tree there. And I couldn't explain it. And, you know, and I'm still kind of like, that's a lot of torque that forced this tree down. So I didn't know what it is. I don't know who did it or what, but I just find it strange that how that tree that we found was just like that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's mind blowing. And we did. I forgot about that. We did go up to one of them and I said, let's do it together. And we get to feel how strong that piece was. Now, Mike, when you've been out, we've been out plenty of times and we have it. I'll let you speak for me in a sense with a twist. What's your theory on twists like that?
Well, just they've been reported, you know, nationwide really. So, you know, from Sasquatch researchers and people who have observed, I guess, Sasquatch in the area of twists, or people who habituate with them say they twist trees and things like that. But so I'm sure they do that, right? And it's a very good thing to look for. My only thing here would be like whether if that's a road next to it or not, and vehicles can come down there. But otherwise, I'm fully supportive of twists being like, potential evidence of Sasquatch for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and that is a road right there, by the way. That is absolutely a road. I just noticed the severity of the twist and the strength of the tree.
Sure.
And that's why, if it was just kind of a bend and a break, one of those, we've seen plenty of those,
Mhm.
right? Yeah, bends. When it adds that little twist, if you see the binding of the wood and you see how it's kind of, jumping to the left, as I call it, I always call it like jumping to, like it had to like jump to the left, I always attribute that to having these bad boys.
Right. Yeah. So like that, or just machinery happened to be in the area, and that's another thing to look for if there was like logging or anything happening in the area.
Right.
But we know that this is an area where there's other signs. So
Richie,
Yeah,
this is the first twisty when we first got out of the truck.
Yeah, that's right. Right where we parked right there. And I said, hey, I think we missed
Yeah,
this. Look
that's
at
where
this
I had to go pee, and then I looked at it as I peed, and I'm like, "What is that?" And then you came over. You had to be like, "Yeah."
No,
yeah, so, okay,
no. Time out. I did not come over. All right, no.
No, not that way.
There was no coming over. It was like, hey, it was like way far away. Like, hey, I'm way over here. Yeah, go ahead. You continue now. I just want to clarify.
No, but for Mike, yeah, on that main road, driving through this whole area, you don't have really a lot of room on each side. I know, like in this picture that Richie showed, it's like, I don't know, I just can't explain it, but I just can't see it. I understand like pieces of machinery and stuff, but
Yeah.
sure,
'cause
understandable. And that's
when we first
that's the
drove
one
in,
argument. Right.
I mean, yeah, I think someone came by like a long time ago. We went through ice, so there's some ice breakage in the road that we were going over. That someone probably like had a quad or something. But as of like any like type of big machinery, like
Right.
I had to discount that. But
Cool.
I thought it was pretty wild.
Well, I think with that, what Mike's saying too is that we, as much as we might not need to be as scientific as others, where they don't believe,
exactly.
where they don't, but we still have to. If there's human activity, we almost have to eliminate things,
Right.
and it stinks to do that. And I said it the other day with you because they built that trail where we were near my old property, Mike. I'm not happy about it. Okay, we'll talk later. But now I have to discount some things that I find. I never had to because there was nothing ever out there except me, the Mother Nature, and the water and the trees. So now, which is a great topic in itself, when do you get to a point where you do have to discount things that you see? If there's another possibility, unfortunately, that piece of evidence is not the first one you're going to bring to the forefront. You know what I'm saying?
So like basically, Mike is like right off the bat, I'm not gonna go, oh, Sasquatch. No, that was like my first I'd never seen the tree like that. I found that that was like weirdness. Like, how did that happen? And that's where it all started, like the weirdness. Like,
Sure.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, researchers that dedicate, months on end to doing this kind of thing, they specifically look for hairs in these kinds of things. And there's usually very successful because, a lot of times there's a forearm involved or something. And there's just a lot of torque that, they tend to leave hairs behind. So I know there's a guy, Randy Brissett, who looks for a lot of these things and pulls a lot of hairs out of them. So, it's almost known that they do that. If we're going to accept that they're real, it's known that they, for decades have been reported to do this. But it's just a matter, these trees have been here for a decade anyway. So what could have happened in that time?
Yeah.
Is what
Right. Yep. I agree. I agree with all of it. And that's the beauty of this is, look at Walter thinks it's cute. Love you, Walter. Thank you. Oh, here we go. We got more education coming at us. Here we go. Like was that a Harlequin or a Holly Quinn? There's a big difference, bro. There's a huge, vast gap in the middle of those two theories, sir. And then your brother says another possibility is it could also twist due to the way it landed, depending on the high branches pushing the tree to twist. And that's why I take a picture. That's a great point that he brings up. And he's a paranormal investigator. And I ask all of you paranormal investigators on the side here, please chime in. and just say, when do you get to a point where you have to discount that evidence, where you got to throw it out, where you don't present this picture on your podcast? Where in your mind is it? And Mike brought up a great point where there's a road right there. You know what I mean? But for me, somebody who's investigated, and Mike, but that's where I said before he came on, where he leans more scientific than I do. That, correct. So where he brings up the road, and that's something that I didn't even cross my mind because I saw the twist, and I've seen so many twists. So whereas to maybe Mike would discount this from his evidence to present, I would not. So that tells you everything right there as far as being an investigator goes, right? Now, the good news is there's plenty more of these to go around. And Courtney says, always have an open mind to different possibilities. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And, absolutely. And that's the key to it. And when she says that, it could be negative possibilities, because you want to believe we're human, man. And like Steve says, I'm a skeptic, blah, blah, blah. That's what he says. But in his mind, how freaking cool is it if it's true? How freaking cool is it if there are ghosts, if there are Bigfoots? You know what I mean? How cool is that, right? So the human mind reverts back to your childhood, like, how cool is this, right? Right.
Exactly.
So you want to stay away from that, though. You got to keep that at bay if you're going to do this field justice.
Exactly.
You can't just go, this is so cool, it must be Bigfoot everywhere. You can't do that. It's just, and I know, and when I was a young child, I had an apparition walk right up to my face, man. And I know because it was validated by my father, who was an atheist at the time. And it had no connection with God whatsoever. It was a spiritual world or anything. It was the ground and you were done. And even now he acknowledges it because he's had his own experiences. So to me, even when you're there, you still have to back it up, man. And you have to reel it in, or you could find yourself, believing things that aren't true, for one, or presenting things that might not be true, for two, right? And you're going to do this whole field a disservice, and the paranormal field as well. You're going to do that a disservice, right? So yeah, let's click to the next one. All right, so those are two different ones. So the one on the left I found interesting, and we've seen this before, Mike. If I click on, no, that goes to slide 5. Remember we enlarged it a little bit that time?
I don't know. The thing I have about the one on the left is it looks like old and rotted.
Correct.
It just looks like it's just going to go down anyway. Maybe that's your point here. I don't know, but
yeah, correct. So this is it, because I have another one in here. I'm going to look for it real quick. There it is.
Oh,
you
yeah,
see this?
Yeah.
Now this is what I'm talking about. So here's the difference, right? Like Mike just brought it up. See how it's old and rotted? Now I can attest to this because I was standing over it. It was twisted and pulled down, and it's way too small to have anything like, leaves or snow buildup or whatever. See that little pop as far as the bark kind of goes, looking right at us. It has that angle in the bark, like it was yanked, right? And I'm going to jump to this one. See that? So what that tells me a lot of times in this, that there's a force. There's a force. That thing's crashing down. Now, this one here, again, you see on the right, there's not a lot of branches here, okay? So to speak, right? So you see you see like 20, 30 branches to be fair, right? Right? So how many leaves are on there going to hold how much snow to break that perfectly fresh, say 5.5-inch round tree and make it explode to where the bark does that? That's not a slow fall, people. To me, that's not a slow fall. That to me is a yank. That to me is something that would have to come from above and just really snap that thing down abruptly, and apparently stop it at a 90-degree angle, I might add, too. Mother Nature does not do 90-degree angles generally, people. Remember that. So anyways, so that's the difference. So whereas the other one you have an explanation for, or again, that scientific theory that now you have to take that picture and just throw it away because you come over here to this one, and that one kind of trumps the other one. What did you say, Mike? Where'd Mike go?
I'm right here.
Did you hear what I said?
Yeah, I heard what you said, but I don't know what you're referring. I don't know what I said.
No, but I'm saying the pull. I'm doing different things with the cool pictures. Hang on. Nope, not doing that. Nope, not doing that.
But
Oh, there we go.
it did seem like it takes force. I know what you're talking about, the way it buckles out like that, right? It
Yes.
almost explodes outward.
Yes, that's the difference. That's what I'm saying. Is would you say
Mhm.
like the one that, like you mentioned, it looks rotted and stuff?
Rotted, yeah, it's just like it had decayed.
Right. You're gonna pull out of those two pictures. Which one are you gonna go with as evidence?
Well, yeah, if I'm going to choose one, it's the one with that seemed like it had some hard wood to it still.
Right. Yeah. And I'm big. I am big on the let me see. There's my evidence. I am big on the 90-degree angles, and I'm big on this force-looking pull. Where again, I'm not trying to convince anybody. Why does it keep doing that? Oh, you made it large, Bobby Lee? Is that you?
Yeah, I think she made it
It
larger.
was me. Yep.
Oh, yeah. I'm wondering why my format's just. I'm like, it's a ghost. Quick, get somebody on the right to investigate. I need somebody here. You know what I mean? And Courtney brings up another good point too. Try to debunk first if you can't, and then there's a possibility. And we've had that discussion where we eliminate. Remember, we talk about that peeling that onion back. I said it earlier, and kind of eliminating things, right? So this one to me on the left, I found intriguing as far as Mother Nature goes. To find that to be a natural occurrence, to me, that looks like an abundance of force. So as an outdoorsman at the time, Steve, I mean, what would you feel when you see something like that?
Well, I'm just looking at both pictures, and on the second picture, there's not. I mean, obviously that tree's larger than the branches on the ground, but looking at the left picture, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, how it could be dead, but I can see the chunks right there. I mean, it's tough to say because looking at a picture, it's tough. But I know you're saying it takes a lot of force. But don't forget, we've had high winds and stuff like that. But I seen trees like that when I was hunting in high winds drop like that before.
Yeah. And they come in and they explode the bark out underneath it and then end up at a 90-degree angle.
Oh yeah. Because it's creaking back and forth. So it's like, obviously it's just giving way. So just looking at that chunk,
like where the chunk you're saying, the one hanging below it, like the letter V.
Yeah. Exactly. It looks like and
see, I don't see again, I'm not an avid hunter. I don't see, and again, I'm not trying to convince anybody. I'm just having a discussion. I don't see how the top of this tree here is so low overloaded with leaves, wet leaves, whatever, snow and wind to break something like that. And Mother Nature's crazy. Don't get me wrong. I've been around in crazy winds. I've watched trees walk by me, basically. You know what I mean? So I get that too. It's to me on this particular tree, and when I see and I see a lot of these trees out here like this, that there's not a lot of leaves, there's not a lot of branches, yet they've come down with some kind of force. And I can't explain it. Is it scientific? Am I going to present it to, the Bigfoot community on a huge stage? No, more than likely, no. Not with Mike with me, anyways. Mike would be leaving. So I'm going to back up to this now, right? So this one here, I found very interesting. One, I found it very interesting because of the age. Do you notice the age of this tree? This thing's old, man. Right? This is, to me, we walked up to this one. This one I tried twisting myself as well, remember? So if you look at the fractures in this thing, see the fractures in it? And then right at the bend, there's like a knuckle that kind of sticks out, right where the break is at the bend, right? So that tells me that's where that was first broken. And there's a twist to it. We're back to that twist theory, right? So, and it's still alive. And it's up. So now we're talking about a force of what you just mentioned, say, Stephen, right? You just mentioned that. Say that force is here, but that force was able just to twist this and then land it 4 feet up off the ground to where it can keep growing. Again, Mother Nature does amazing things.
It does.
You have to ask ourselves, when you see 20 of these, it makes it a little bit easier to theorize. But with this looking at this here. You know what I mean? What's that, Mike?
I'm just saying it's just so tough that over the life of this tree, who knows what could have taken it down. You know, like it.
Yeah.
I'm just so skeptical about just simple little bends and breaks that.
Right.
So where
because
do you
it could have been like a tree that came down that had since been moved or something like that. You know, like this could have happened 12, 15 years ago, right?
So where do you have to be? That's a great question. So where do you have to be, like as far as a twist goes, like degrees wise? You know, when you start going, okay, Mother Nature didn't do that. Is there any amount that you would go to, or?
I mean, I'll consider them, but I don't think. I mean, you know me in the woods, Rich. I don't pay much attention to these kinds of things, you know.
No, but I do.
Right. But so I'm kind of playing devil's advocate to say like that. To say that a Sasquatch bent a lot of these is could possibly the last thing I would suggest, maybe.
Correct. So you're saying, all right, so that's great. And this is the good thing. This is basically me and Mike out in the woods. This is
just
what
because
happens.
you don't know, like it could be anything.
Right. But we don't know a lot about this field, and we don't know a lot about this research. And that's what we're doing is learning. So when we start seeing consistencies in these things, the other thing I found here, I got some cool stuff I'm going to throw up here real quick. Walter Burke. Looking at our structures, the way the tree lay all in towards a center doesn't seem natural. And well, we haven't gotten to those pictures yet, Walter, but yes, exactly. The key point, I think, is the end few words, keep the foliage alive. Let's hold on to this comment. And then Steve's brother Matt says having tornado experience and being caught in one twice. Dude, that's like being hit by a bus twice, bro.
Oh, God, yeah.
Like if you know there's a tornado in the area, what are you doing getting caught in it twice? I know those were not downed by a tornado either. And wind is not a factor either due to the branches when having leaves the age. So exactly. So what we're doing here is exactly what we talk about. So if you want to go out in the woods and you want to buy equipment and you want to do research on cryptos, as I'm going to call them in my show, what Steven's brother Matt just did was take things away. Well, he peeled the onion back. Okay. He went through these things. He says, wait, I've been here. I've seen tornadoes. They don't do that. They snap and blow. And even the ones on the outskirts of it, I've seen them. You're not going to find a tree twist around like a tornado after it leaves. And a downspurt, same thing. You're not going to find like shear winds. I've watched shear winds. We just had that 100-year storm up here in the Northeast not too long ago. You want to find those things, you can go out and particularly my property and find them. I literally watch a tree snap off halfway up and just walk 15 feet before it fell. I mean, I get Mother Nature in a sense, you know what I mean? But you do have to start asking yourself, hey, wait a minute. So my next step to this is, right, what the hell's Rich getting at? So I did some research. Imagine that, right? Me and my ADD did some research, right? And we've had this discussion, I believe, Mike. They talk about the natives and the Native Americans breaking trees when they're small and having them kind of grow and point in a direction for information for next generations or other tribes that they're friendly with. And I got to thinking about that theory. You've heard that, right, Mike? Did we have that talk? Was it you?
Sure.
Yeah. So it's not like it's a dead theory or I just made it up. It's something that is pretty documented. And I've had discussions with, the likes of Matt Moniz and Dave McCullough and things like that. And they believe in that as well,
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is this, if the Native Americans had glyphs of a big creature, right? All over their history, right? It's all over their history. Every bit of their history, you could just find that big glyph with the guy with the big hands and he's bigger than everybody else. They had such a relationship, seemingly, we don't know, with a Sasquatch of sorts, right? What's the difference? I mean, they all live in the same terrain. They all hunt for the same food, right? So what would the difference be? I mean, that they wouldn't be learning something like that from a tribe, from a Native American, breaking it off, passing it on there. This tree right here could be from when Native Americans were there, to be honest with you. It's so old. I mean, why isn't that possible, right?
Right.
So that's kind of where I go with that. And it goes back to this, Courtney, Green, thank you, Courtney, but it goes back to what you said too, Courtney, that you got to be open to all possibilities, right? So again, it's just a possibility. It's not a definite, right? I mean, Steve, have you ever heard of that Native American theory? And just being in layman's term as a hunter, you know what I mean?
No, I've heard, yes. I've heard, and actually my brother Matt, he obviously the paranormal, we do discuss a lot about Indians and the paranormal and they talk about like, giants, back in the days and things like that. So, I mean, I'm weary of certain things, but as the way you're saying about the tree, I mean, I don't know. I still keep an open mind. I don't know. I'm still like consuming all this as we go, and the more trips I go, the more I'm learning because it's pretty fascinating. That's for sure.
Yeah. And it brings up a topic, right? I mean, you can you can at least have the discussion. It's not something that,
right.
I don't want to have, like, I've talked to people who are like, oh, I don't believe in that. And that's it. End of discussion. I haven't been out Bigfooting with them since because I want to have a discussion. I don't want to claim Bigfoot at everything. I just want to have the damn discussion. And then when I counter you, with a good point, maybe you could think my way a little bit if I'm forced to think your way, because I don't think it's going to do the field any good, this or paranormal investigating, any good if it's just a dead end. I don't believe in that. I mean, if you're already here this far, if you're at this point in your life, if everybody on the side is at this point, you know something already. You know what I mean? There's no time to be closed-minded now. You're already in, man. Right?
Well, Rich, like yesterday,
well,
it's like you're trying to find common ground on the situation, and like yesterday, we've had discussions on certain things we found, and it's like it's like you find it fascinating, but you try to debunk it, but it's hard to really totally debunk it because the surroundings of the area of those trees that we found, and you just have to find some common ground on the situation, because anything can happen.
Yeah, and I've learned a lot from Mike too. When me and Mike go out, Mike, like I said, he's a great balance, and for me, like when Mike's like, hey, I see this, and sometimes I've sat there and went, yeah, oh, okay, yeah. So I scratched that because what he said made sense, not because he said I don't believe in that. No, he had a freaking theory of why it probably wasn't that way, Rich. It was educated, it was intelligent, it was a damn discussion to where I was able to go, yeah, okay, got you there, yeah, that makes sense. But if I see another one, I'm coming at you with it. You know what I mean? So that's why I appreciate going out with Mike too.
And Rich, I don't want to knock your idea that this isn't like, I'm sure they do this kind of stuff all the time, but obviously, like, this isn't evidence to anyone of Sasquatch, and so it's great for you and I to consider in our research areas or whatever, but that's all it is. It's just like a potential, and maybe you can document that on a map and see which direction they're facing, and then you can come up with something eventually.
Yes, sir.
And so I'm fully supportive of looking at these, but to say who did it, who knows.
Right? Mike, I got a question for you.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So, like in this picture, like, but I mean, to see like one, and you don't really, like, if you're obviously like roaming around for like hundreds of yards of walking around, whatever, you don't really see anything else like this. How do you feel then? You know what I'm saying? Like, if I start seeing other ones like this, then I kind of like, there's something strange going on here. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I could, and who knows, like, I'm not, maybe it's disease or something like that, but obviously, like, this one has tension. The way it was pulled down is tension. If a larger tree had pulled it down at some point in the past, who knows? And like you did say, like, usually people will say that there's several in an area that are all snapped off or bent over. Right. But this could also be just on the side of a game trail, and they're looking for the specific type of branch, every 200 yards or whatever on their trail. So, it's so hard to say, right?
Yeah, and that's
because they do, and as someone who can get angry on occasion, like it destroys stuff, right? That's a possibility. They're just tearing through the woods and knocking stuff over because that's what apes and primates do.
Yep. And that's like the knocking that I had at my house that was so angry that night. And the banging and stuff that I showed Steve that tree where it happened and everything. And that's a good point. You never know. But and I'm not necessarily presenting this as evidence tonight. I'm presenting this as discussion tonight.
Right.
And I thought it was a great topic to kind of hit on and try to catch different perspectives because I had someone that researches Bigfoot and someone that has been a hunter and is just starting research. So I thought it was a great kind of combination to pull up this type of discussion. And on the right, I just don't want anybody to be missed on the right. So I want to go catch up on one thing. Hang on one second. Well, Stephen, I guess you didn't tell me about your brother Matt and his knowledge of the Bridgewater Triangle, did you?
No.
I have and know the tribes here as well that have done here. I don't know what that means.
I think it's talking about bending trees.
Oh, bending trees, done that here. Okay. Also, the Nephilim theory regarding the Sasquatch from Squanto hundreds of years ago, and the Kings Phillips as well. Courtney adds the Weewa, the Weewa tribe, correct? Mike, isn't that?
I think that was a prior attempt at her second comment there, maybe. Yeah. Like it was just a quick. Oh. We as investigators, blah blah. You see that?
Oh, I see.
Yeah. But maybe I don't know.
Maybe Weewa is a tribe, by the way.
Yeah, there's Weedamoo, right? Weedamoo was the princess that was in the.
But another thing too, Rich, is that I do have a friend who's expert in trees. That he's a tree expert down in Georgia, and you know what? I like to take some of these pictures, and actually, I think maybe next month I might be going out to Georgia. I'm going to show him a lot of these pictures and see what he thinks.
I think
just as a follow-up.
That's exactly what we're talking about, Steve. And that's why you need different perspectives in this field.
Exactly.
Me and Mike have been doing this for a little while. Mike longer than I, but it's like we all have different theories. Now, if you can take that as research and present it to somebody in the tree industry, you know what I mean, and try to get his perspective. He might have a blah 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 for you. He might be a skeptic and just shut the door on you anyways. Who knows? You might not even get that far. But grab what he gives you, good or bad, and deal with it and live with it, and say what he says verbatim, so we can all learn from it. And
you learn as you go. You know, you're gonna ask questions.
All right, let's see. I'm going to go on to some more pictures in a minute. We as investigators want the holy grail of evidence. However, you have to be honest with yourself and spirits, etc. Otherwise, you are just giving the field a disservice. Exactly what I just said. It is funny because I didn't even say that because she said that. It was what you were talking about. Living with what you have. Alex Petikoff says this when in his thing. If you ever want to get into crypto, it's kind of a raw type of deal. Small Town Monsters, Beyond the Trail. Alex Petikoff, New Hampshire guy. For me, he's had a few shows where he goes, yeah, nothing happened. You know what I mean? It was 3 hours of watching nature, because nothing happened. I can respect that. Nothing happened, damn it. He didn't need to come out and tell, oh my God, I barely made it out alive, throw water in his face like he's sweating. I don't need any of that crap. I need to know the truth. I need to know answers. I need something solid, And then Matt's keyboard is acting up, everybody, apologizing for the spelling and grammar. Matt, we're not in school, bro. I don't give a shit about your spelling and your grammar, okay? Or your nana or whoever that is. What?
He didn't learn it from us, that's for sure.
But he did add to that. In fact, Metacom is why the triangle was cursed, too, according to the events that took place with the Narragansett tribe in the 1600s. Mike, I think I found my new triangle expert to be guest speaker. What do you think?
I love it, man. I'm all about the native lore and the Kings Phillips Wars. I think that's the reason, people say that the Sasquatch are attracted to like energy, right? And energy from the natives and important native areas.
Yep.
And this is a major, spot for the history of that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely. It's huge.
Actually, I just posted about a sighting in Rhode Island at the Great Swamp Monument, which is where a bunch of natives were killed at the hands of the colonists. Of a Sasquatch just hanging out like right at the monument.
That's crazy.
Wow.
That's not. Listen, if you're not from we're up in the Northeast, South Shore, Massachusetts, toilet. In that area, look up, if you don't know it, excuse me, paranormal world, crypto world, UFO world, every bit of it is right here. I'm sitting in the middle of it right now. I think Mike is. No, Mike's not sitting in the middle of it. You're sitting. Where are you? You're not in it either, are you? No, you're in it. Yeah, I know where you are. Yeah, so look up the Bridgewater Triangle, right? Look up King Philip's War and look up Hockomock Swamp and do your research on that stuff. You want to find a really interesting stories and really interesting reads about things that did actually happen and some things that didn't actually happen too, I'm sure. But there is some factual stories in there. It's a great read and it covers everything that you'd probably be interested in if you sit here listening to this right now. So that's for my out of the area people, or even people in the area that don't know about it. It's pretty kick-ass stuff, and we get to live right in the middle of it, right? Courtney says, I was taught to ask, is it paranormal? Is it not? When in doubt, and you're not sure, rule it out. Exactly what we were talking about with the street, right? So, Mike, I'm going to get to this section. I sent you these pictures as one of my experts, Dave McCullough, Matt Moniz, Alex Petikoff. I sent them all these pictures that we're about to come on and discuss. All these pictures that you're seeing right now were out in this location. We're going to call it Iceland, right? Remember? Iceland. So everybody goes to Greenland. Remember? Eric the Red? Okay. Anyways. And out in Iceland. And everybody, I heard, got two good finds. I got a very interesting, and I don't really believe in structures, but I have no idea. That's very weird. So to me, there was not, you're a loon. So that's good. Stop talking shit, Richie. Didn't get any of that. So that's good, right? So this is what we walked up on. And I want to say a point that Mike kind of brought up a little bit. I think he didn't realize it, but he did. We were following. I'm huge, and Mike knows this. And we walk down the high tension lines, right? The power lines, whatever you want to call them, wherever you're from. I always like to look at the little pockets through the trees. You could always find a trail or something that when you go down high power tension lines and take a right or a left, and there's a little. So once I get in there, I look for structures or things that might be made to mark that trail. So that's one of the things I've learned to do as a Bigfoot researcher, right? So this is what we did. We got in here, and this particular was off a little trail, and I remember saying, "Hey, check." Somebody said we were all talking about structures on the side of the road, basically, and following them once we see them, and that's kind of what we were doing. And we followed some structures and some bends, and we really went about doing that. That was a true story, right, Steve? You were there. Walter was there. Patty was there. That's what we went with, right?
Yep.
And what we walked up on, to me, was bizarre, because if you look at these trees, I'm in front. I believe is that there's an entrance right here. Oh, I not believe I walked in there and stood in it. But if you look at the trees on the right, they're bent right towards the middle, and you look at the trees on the left, and they're bent towards the middle, and you go inside, it's a structure. I stood up in it, right? And on the way in one of my videos I posted, check that out. I believe it's on YouTube, Instagram, maybe YouTube and Instagram. No, definitely YouTube. But check that out. There's like a twisted branch, like a 360 twist all the way around, and the thing's dangling, and you can see it's just twisted like a design. And look at the bottom of these trees, man. Now, we've talked about bends and twists and breaks and Mother Nature, right? We've had that discussion already tonight, right? Don't you feel we've kind of covered a lot of that stuff, right? To me, this is on a different level. And one of the things that stand out to me, and then I'm going to shut up and let you guys talk, but because, again, I don't want to manipulate anybody's thoughts. I mean, Steve was already standing here. Mike's already seen these pictures. The thing that stands out to me is that these guys aren't pushed over. Like some of them are. Some of them are pushed over, but the majority of them are bent at the trunk.
Yep.
Bent at the trunk. This is a solid object that is bent at the trunk. It blew my mind. And I said, you know what? That I kept saying, man, that's like if you boil a carrot and you can kind of bend it. You know what I mean? It's like the thing's boiled, softened, and then put into shape. Although I don't know how that would take place out where we were, or anywhere for that matter. Or, somebody throws water on a hairdryer. I have no idea what the hell's going on out in the woods at night. But to me, that's quite unique. So I'm going to go to Mike real quick first, and then we're going to get Steve's reaction when he walked up to it. Mike, you've seen a lot of things, right? You've seen a lot of things pertaining, again, to the research of Bigfoot. Pertaining to the research of Bigfoot is what I'll call it. How's that?
Yeah, sounds good.
What do you see when you look at this?
I like it. I mean, it's it's interesting because all the trees come from different directions into one direction, which is not indicative of pressure from one direction or another.
Right.
But you showed me some good pictures. It looks like it was manipulated into that design, right, as some sort of dome type of structure, I think, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yes.
I have a video up of me standing in it once again. Me standing up, and then I turn around and I look at these trees on the right from the inside, and they're perfectly choreographed. You know what I mean? It's mind-blowing to me. You know what I mean? For me. And then I have other pictures in here. The other pictures that you saw are in here we're going to check out in a minute. So you've seen, have you ever seen this and doing your
I've never
research?
seen any sort of anything I would consider a shelter, actually, or a bed of any sort.
Right.
I know my brother has in an area that I've gone to, but nothing ever like this. But I would definitely pay attention to it if I had.
Yeah, no, and that's what we're doing. We're researching this area right now as we speak. We have technology out there researching this area, and we want to bring it to everybody and have discussions about it going forward. So we're going to be doing that in the next week. So next Tuesday we're going to go over some things. Whatever we find. That again, there's that topic. We're going to bring to you whatever we find. If I have to come on here at 7:00 at night and go, hey, we found nothing, you guys better chime in or I don't have a show. I don't give a shit. It's not what it's about. You know what I mean? I don't care about that. Steve, you walked up to this. Your very first trip, Bigfoot, you jerk. This is what you very first trip. Look what he finds, Mike. Very first trip. This is crap. I mean, I did have what I thought was a Bigfoot approach me and throw things at me. So that's a little better. But still, what do you think of that?
Well, I'm just going to back up just a little bit, Mike. Yep. So when we finding twisties and what have you, and we found this one twisty, and we just kind of found a little trail.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're like a mile into the woods. I found it kind of strange, a little trail, so we followed it. We did some tree knocks, whatever. And as we came down, we took a break, so we sat in the middle of the path. So Richie, obviously what Richie does, Richie's just talking away, and I'm kind of like looking around, and then I'm just observing. Now, the bend is away from us. So if you're looking at the side, left-hand side of the trail, and everything kind of fanned over. And I didn't say nothing. I'm just looking and going, geez, I've never seen anything like that before. And then Richie stops, and he looks, he goes, what the hell is that? And I said, there we go. Now, now we're connecting here. I go, I never seen that before. And Richie was like blown away from it. So the first thing I did is I came down and I went around, and then all of a sudden I could see everything just on all angles like this. And then you can see an opening. As we approached, we were just looking at each other like, what the heck is that? And, and then at the same time, we're seeing there's like 4 huts. And
we're going to get to those.
Yeah. And like I said, to see trees from the base and bent like that, like you see some fractures, but another thing too, Rich, is that there's always that main tree that's like, perfectly like perpendicular, and then it kind of fans over it. It's like holding up the structure or something. I don't know, but they're all like that. I just never seen anything from the ground up to. You're talking about some 1 to 2 inch, branches. Right. And I just never seen anything like it in my life. And I was like, really like, my heart was pumping. I was just like, wow, that's all my years walking through the woods everywhere throughout New England. I never seen anything like this before.
And the beauty of this is, like, we just had a discussion about twists and breaks, right? We just had conversation about that. We just had explanation for that, right? And then all of a sudden you walk up to this. It's not a bend or a break. I don't know what the hell this thing is. It's a bend but don't break. I don't know. It's from the stump is what's blowing my mind. It's not halfway up. It's they're in uniform from the stump. mind
But
blowing.
also too, Rich. Well, okay, Walter did put it up. Okay, I was about to explain
Yeah.
that the trees are still alive.
Correct.
They're still green,
Yep.
but I mean, it's like it's preserved, and it just everything just
Imagine what it looks like in the spring, right? Imagine what it
Yeah.
looks like when all the foliage comes back, when all the leaves come back, when all the pine needles are thicker. Think of that. Think of what that looks like.
And this is
Nothing.
like how many yards would you say? Probably about 30, not even 30 yards from that little trail that we were following either, because we would never have known that. That's my point, Mike, is that we would never have known that it was like a hut structure of some sort. You just see trees bent way over. You just thought maybe like a microburst or something like that, but I had to dismiss that because now I'm seeing it from all directions, all coming together.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it
it's pretty
seems like and it seems like if that's what they're doing, then they know what they're doing, and they know how to camouflage that from us, and know how to make us argue with each other, which is very easy, by the way, Bigfoot.
It also drops down too, like for where the trail was, Mike.
Yeah.
It just tails down. So that's why it was such a perfect camouflage spot.
Yeah. So and one of the things that also this here is the one closest to the street. Okay, I call it a street. It's just a little dirt trail. Closest to the trail is this one, and when we went in, we went down a little bit and then up a little bit to the right, and I think it was a little more than 30 yards off. It might have been like maybe 60, say, even double that, say. I don't know. We're gonna check it out when we go back. That's a great point that you bring up. So this one was in the front, and it was the bigger one, right? And then you come out of this one, and there was two rocks, and it went down into a hole because it's natural kind of protection, right? And then I turn around, and I go, look up. And we look up, and it looked like something manipulated the trees over it.
Yes.
To form a cover, right? And
Yep.
that one was medium size, right? Now we're on the Goldilocks here, right? So then we go around the back a little ways, and honest to God, there's a small hut about 4 or 5 feet. It's really tiny compared to this one. And I went, oh my God, that's crazy. And it makes sense to me. And being a military guy, it made sense to me too. Whereas this is kind of the setup closest to the trail where he gets to watch everything. You know what I mean? Keep everybody protected. And then you probably got Mama Bear and you got, a little dude out back, right? And now I'm saying, wow, it starts to come together where it's twisted, and real quick, like Steve just touched on Walter's comment, that foliage being alive is a huge part of this whole theory, by the way. And we're going to get more to that. And Patty thinks that Wojo was our lucky charm, by the way. It was my first time up there, okay? So, anyways, rock, paper, scissors. So we walked around, and then we started looking around, and now you're kind of looking at this. I don't want to use the word because it's the only thing that comes to mind is complex. Like I'm looking at it going, what did we just walk into? Like, really? What did we walk into? I never saw it, right? So that was cool. So then we go around back and look what we find.
Yep.
Everybody on the side, soak that in for a minute. Look at that thing. And this thing here, I laid down in, and I stretched my feet out, and I stretched my arms out over my head. And it's probably a little over 8 feet with everything all stretched, tippy toes and all that. And not only that, you can look at the ground and see the ground was matted down. I went in there and came out and didn't have one leaf or pine needle stuck to me. It was because it was so hard. The ground was so hard. It wasn't soft at all. And this, now mind you, when you look at this structure to the right, any comments from you guys on the side, I'd love to hear them of what you're looking at. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying everybody's Bigfooters, you know what I mean? But check that out, man. Mind you, on the other side of this is the big structure, and we're going to touch on this whole thing again next week too. This is something that deserves some good, solid research. You know what I mean? And we got, like I said, we have some technology out there, but Patty and Walter Burke, they're on the side right now. We discussed it. Their technique is absolutely insane. Mike touched on it earlier. The recording is the way to go. There's nests out in the western Pacific coast. And thank you. Hello, Mary. And there's nests out there. And one of the things I brought up to even Alex Petikoff when I was texting back and forth with him about these, I said, hey, couldn't it be possible that this is the way they do it on the East Coast as compared to what they do on the West Coast? I mean, if you guys are checking out nests out there, You know, it's all huckleberry sticks and everything else, which is really cool. There's huckleberry out there. So they're using what's there, right? You know, that's their theory out there. They got recorders up. They're listening to it. Huckleberry sticks are everywhere. That's their theory. That's what the nest bed's made out of. Well, we have pine and oaks and elms and things like that. Well, guess what we're looking at? Right? I mean, Mike, again, back to you, man. I mean, you and I have been on a few trips in our day. Look at the left side of this picture and follow those trees. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
what does that say to you?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think regarding their nests or whatever, I think they could just do it out of whatever they want to, not specifically one thing or another, like you mentioned, like the huckleberries versus pine needles or whatever.
Right.
So you could, this could be a Bigfoot nest, and then you could find one 100 feet up in a tree or something, right? Because people say that they do that occasionally too. But
you mean make a nest in a tree, or there's
right. I'm just saying regarding like what Sasquatch do to build nests, East Coast versus West Coast.
Right.
It could differ just between families, I think personally, but I just think this is a pretty sweet, you know what I mean? But this is a pretty sweet find, so who knows? I like it though a lot.
Yeah, thank you.
I just like to add, like Mike, this is like, I think this is the last hunt that that we found, and Richie. I mean, Richie, you look like you were like in a, I don't know, like a 5-star hotel. You know, I mean, it's just plenty of room underneath there. But I found kind of like funny is that all these structures where we're facing, it's like either it's north or south.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it wasn't like we didn't find Rich, right? And we didn't find any openings like on the sides. Everything was either north or south. And I brought this up to Richie yesterday too, because the location and everything. And I'm asking you, like, just as I'm just trying to theorize what I witnessed is that where the sun came over us in the direction, it came directly over us. And I wonder if they really built the structures, based on maybe with the sunlight, on both sides of the huts. I don't know what you.
That's a good theory. They have to be masters of nature, and that involves knowing what the light and the sun is doing at all times. So I'm sure if they were all oriented in one way, that's a good hypothesis. Because that is the one constant that happens every day is the sun rising and setting.
Right. Because this last time, we're talking like maybe another 20 feet away from this picture was branches. It looked like they were like cleanly like ripped off. And it was perfectly laid out straight. And I've seen whenever you pull on something, you're leaving that stem, you're just ripping that piece of the bark off, whatever. This is just plucked right out. And it's like almost like a little hollow inside, just a little, but I'm looking around like for where we were, and I couldn't find where these branches can match.
Sure, right.
And that's why it's like whatever did this added a little bit more, and left the rest off to the side. But again, it's like everything's just too clean. Again, the everything starts from the bottom and comes over.
Yep.
And plucking of the trees on the sides, like the branches, and it's just perfectly clean. Nothing. The bark was like kind of a little wilted at the end. It just pulled right out. It's just amazing. Like
I thought those were saplings, Steve. I literally thought those were saplings broken off 3/4 from the down by the stump. You know what I mean? Because the way it looked like the tops of them narrowed like a tree.
Right.
But there was like 4 of them laying right in a row.
Right in a row.
And I got a picture of that as well. And I think also that's in the video. If you watch the video once again on my YouTube channel, you'll see that video. I go over them like, look at these trees just sitting here. It made no sense whatsoever. It was absolutely all over the place in that sense. But everything it was all over the place to us, but it had so much meaning to something, to whoever did it. You know what I mean? And I think it goes back to our conversation. Maybe that's the autism conversation, the high on the spectrum type conversation that we had a few weeks ago with Matt Moniz and Dave McCullough, where things are in a row. We were out yesterday. I put another video up on my YouTube of that tree that was down, and then it was like row after tree after tree after tree laid out in a row. Like there's like 15 of them, right? And it's an old setup, but they're all in a row, man. Like leaning on this tree. It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
But again,
actually,
no, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mike.
I was just going to say regarding the laying things out, I heard a report recently where someone had left out Jif peanut butter, and they couldn't get the top off, so they eventually like tore the whole cap and threads off, like just tore the plastic. But they said they peeled the label and separated it by color, like the 3 or 4 colors that are on a Jif label were all peeled and crumbled up and in little piles by color, which is really wild.
Wow.
You know,
You
just,
gotta leave
just
that
to
as a
take
gift,
it,
Rich.
take it an extra level of
Mind blowing.
right.
Wow, that's great.
That's
because
crazy.
You know, I like my stuff orderly sometimes, and I can't keep a neat space at all, right? But when I decide I want stuff orderly, like it drives me crazy if it's not. It's pretty funny.
Correct. Yeah, that's like me when I go out power washing houses. Like the house is perfectly spotless. You go over to my van, it's a nightmare. You know what I mean? It's just
Right,
yeah,
dude. Something about that. Yeah.
Yeah, but everything on my job sites are like boom, boom, boom. Someone leaves a cap from a bleach bottle on the. What is that? What the freak? You know, it's like it's a little blue cap, and like I'm twitching. You know what I mean? So I totally get that. Patty wanted to remind us of something there, Steven. Don't forget the brush we found on the game trails that look like deer blockades too. Very close.
Well, I was going to bring that up, but we kind of jumped ahead, Patty. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, Patty. Sorry. Now we're in trouble, Steve. Go ahead, Steve. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. So,
Can you explain it and describe it for the audience?
yeah. So as we crossed over the power lines, I'm going to refer to me first. Is that I'm looking for if there is something out here, where's the food source? And we've been finding highways of deer crossings, just as you get into the woods. And right off the bat, that I noticed we noticed one of the twisties that came down. And I said, oh, here's a twisty here. But then there were multiple twisties. So Mike, what happened is that they're all facing, I'm going to say the twisties were about maybe like 20, 30 yards, Rich, but they're all down in the same direction, aiming towards the power lines. And that's like right where those runs were coming. And I found that strange, to see these type of big branches that were, just twisted down, and there was like solid wood. And between this highway of deer aiming towards the power lines, and I looked at Walter and I was like, I find this strange because I never seen anything like that. And you know what? We all, he made a good point. He goes, maybe or Richie, excuse me. I think they're corralling the deer.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes a lot of sense to me because of me being a hunter. You want to like bottleneck that sort of area. But like I said, it's not like tree after tree. It's, I think each tree was like, probably about 50 feet apart, going back like in a bottleneck, I guess,
Triangle-ish.
triangle.
Like a
The
point.
cone, Richie. They call it the cone.
Yeah, the cone like this. And then the crazy thing was, once I looked at it and thought about it, I looked down, and right up against the one on the left was deer scat all the way down the thing.
Yes.
Like the thing was literally walking the tree line. He was walking that
walking the
busted-ass
tree line.
Yeah, like he was told. It was so crazy weird that I had said it and then looked down and said, wow, look at that, dude. It's right next to the pole, right next to the tree being down.
And also,
different.
too, Mike,
Great
is that I found strange because, again, I'm trying to think, what would I, if I was a deer hunter that could like tackle a deer, well, where would I go? And you can see patches of pines and like there's rocks and there's like little hills, like they're hidden. And I just found that kind of strange, like how, walking in the woods to see this kind of sign, the highway of deer, which is unbelievable.
Yeah.
But also seeing these twisties, I was like,
I just like how you call them twisties, bro.
Yeah, that's great.
And I know Mike is holding it in because every time you say it, I feel the same thing. He's like, yeah, man.
Who would you like to call them?
No, you stay in your lane, bro.
Yeah.
I'm down with twisties. I'm gonna go back over to my lane now. You just stay. Twisties is good with me, and Mike
Yeah.
are gonna enjoy the hell out of this. But go ahead. I'm
Strike
sorry.
straws. I don't know anything, but I was just blown away as of being out in the woods all my life and to see strange signs like that. I just couldn't fathom. And then as we kind of split off, and and that's when I bumped into that one twisty and found the road, and that's how it all came down to these huts. And again, we're deep in the woods, and when you walk, I scout everything. I'm looking for compressions. I'm looking for anything out of the ordinary, which obviously, or scat, which I found loads of them. But it just all kept leading up to this area, and it was just like really, like crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. There's lots of stories of them corralling and herding deer using trees, big logs and trees and stuff to force them into areas where they want them to go. And before you even mentioned that, I was looking at these and thought to myself, they kind of look like fish traps, like if they're not beds,
right,
or whatever. Maybe they're trapped and the deer think they can get through them, and then they just get all tangled up and they get trapped there, or whatever. Because there are reports of Bigfoots manipulating their environment in order to capture food, like stacking rocks that mice might live in, or stuffing like hay and stuff in these empty logs that they know rodents will then, take refuge into, and then they'll go back to them. And so they're almost as, the ultimate hunter-gatherer, like, because we do that, I worked in fisheries for a while, and we throw a bunch of boulders in the ocean because the fish then come live in those boulders, and we go fish for them there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same idea. So this would be a pretty basic version compared to what some say that they potentially or have the potential to do.
But again, we're in an area that, see, obviously us living in Mass, we get a ton of nor'easters and damaging winds. Western Mass had their share of tornadoes and what have you. And finding these twisties, one thing I'm noticing, and that's the first thing I'm looking, is the trees above me. What's around them? Do I see like any dead wood, like big branches that can knock this stuff over, make it look like the way they do, and things like that? But there isn't, and it's just unexplainable.
Yeah,
it is, and that's one thing I liked about Steve having him out there, is that I wasn't like, hey, look up and look around and look for branches. He had the common sense as somebody who's been out in the woods enough to go, how the hell that happened? You know what I mean? Which was awesome, because that's a good base, bro. That's a good base to have when you're getting into this thing. That's the thought process you want to and need to have in order to get into this. And it's huge. People don't compare it a lot with paranormal investigating. And I brought it up 100 times tonight. We all have, really.
Yeah.
It's very similar. You have to come in here and try to debunk this shit. You can't just come in and just yell Bigfoot. If you're doing that, you're doing a disservice to the community. You're doing a disservice to the research.
My brother made a good point. Like, I'm just reading about the bark, when I'm looking at the twisties too, I'm not just looking at the tree itself. I'm also looking at the bark. I'm looking at the splinters and, how clean it is, like, the whiteness of it. Like, it's not really that old, on some of these trees. I haven't seen anything that looks like old, rotted in the middle, nothing like that. It's just bizarre.
It was fresh. Well, matter of fact, on my property yesterday, you were over there working on a tree for a while going, I don't understand this. It's fresh as hell. I kept hearing you off like 50 feet from me while I was going.
Yeah.
I'm like, you still on that tree, bro? Like, it was mind blowing to you that tree was where it was.
Well, I told you I have eagle eyes, and like I can look at you, but I can also see some, I have great peripheral vision. I saw something that's lighter than normal, and I looked, and there was that tree that was like perfectly like cleaned off. I mean, excuse me. It's like pushed down, but you can see how clean that
inside core.
Inside, yeah.
Yeah, the core was clean and fresh, and I could tell it was making you question things. And that's I put that moment right there that you had, and I know you've had different moments because you're out in Western Mass, but even that moment yesterday, I saw you kind of working yourself in your brain a little bit. I had that moment when I walked up to that piece of birch that I showed you that was straight across, and Mike's seen it too. That's what really set the whole Bigfoot thing off for me. That was the moment where I stood there and all the sounds that I heard out in my woods and all the footfalls and the scuffling of leaves and the snaps of branches and the breaks of trees all rushed into my head at once like you see in a movie. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, oh my God, wait, the only way you could make this Y go around a tree is if you had thumbs. Like it just hit me. It hit me like that.
Yeah.
Boom, right in the face. And that's where I started going, oh my God, what I've been acknowledging and dealing with for years could be a Sasquatch. And that's exactly what I went into my research right then and there. And that looked like you were having kind of that moment yesterday. I heard you talking to yourself.
You know, I know, I mean, we'll get back to this, but like real quick, like yesterday, you remember that I was lifting up, you know, one of the branches that was crossing, and I go, Rich, this is my point that I like to, like, you know, say to myself. And I was blown away that it's like perfectly placed, and there's no indentation, there's no scuff marks, like, you know, someone's like slide it in. It was just too perfect, too clean, and that's why walking yesterday was like pretty bizarre. Oh yeah. By the way, Mike, we found Tiger Woods ball out in the middle of the woods too.
Golf ball, yeah. I think I said, Mike, didn't we find one out in Western Mass too? Is that no, is that golf ball left over? What golf ball did we leave at the site for a gift?
Yeah, you left
I had a golf ball in there from when we were out in the Lakeville with you, Mike. That golf ball there is now out at that hut on a stump in front of it with trail mix. Well, I gifted. You know what I mean? I believe.
Yeah, great.
I believe in gifting. You gifted a green one. Yes, in my eyes, it's yellow, but I've been told I'm colorblind. But thank you, Patty. Patty's huge. Patty's as far as this stuff goes, is huge. I love her perspective, and Walter. They kind of feed off each other, right, Steve?
Yeah, they're so informative. I mean, those two are real gifts. I mean, they really inspired me more talking to them, walking in the woods, and you know. But yeah, I was like really honored to find something like this that's very out of the ordinary. And I know they've never seen it before. That blew my mind even more. I was like, that's even awesome.
I know, that makes it even better. It's in their area too, and they've been, you know, investigating in a sense, and we get to walk up on this with them and using the different theories and thoughts and theories from the party that we were with, them two, you, myself, you know, because I have my own theories, like I talk about, hey, go in that direction. They have that theory of going that direction. You have that theory of we got to go in this direction because that doesn't make any sense. And I've been out here plenty of times. Right. So the combination of our maybe experience and our open minds led us to this very spot. And I think it's so cool that I believe if one of those pieces were missing, we wouldn't have ended up in this spot. There's just no way. And not only that, to be able to go out there with them because I wanted to see where these recordings were coming from. So to put things in context, to put things in perspective, you know, is there a high school over there, or is there a neighborhood over here? You know what I mean? Like, where are you hearing these noises? I got to hear it because I'm convinced something's going on, you know, in my research field, you know. And then I get out there and I went, oh, you guys are out here drinking fireballs? Are you crazy? Sorry, did I give away your secret? But I thought it was just awesome because when you talk to them, it's like they're so excited all the time about it. It's like you can see them as kids running around giving each other crap, you know what I mean, running around their yards with their parents or whatever. Like it rejuvenated them like it has me. You know, it's put energy back into me in a lot of ways, you know, and I don't know if you noticed that. I was missing some.
Well, finding this also gave them a higher bar, which is a higher bar for all of us. I mean, it's like I said, to find something that looks like primitive, it was just unbelievable.
Absolutely unbelievable. Yeah.
And also too, like, you know, I watched a lot of Bigfoot shows and things like that when I was a kid growing up. And now you're out in the woods, like, you know, now I'm thinking, all right, if I was a Bigfoot, where would I go? You know, where's the food source? And finding all of these deer trails. I mean, I'm not talking like a few tracks. I'm talking really like there's a lot of these like they call them highways. And what I found also strange was not too far away from these huts, I found that deer shed.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, you found antlers sitting there right in between all the huts. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know,
Weird, right? I don't know if I told Mike that or not.
No, you didn't. That's cool though.
Oh yeah, they were sitting right there, and they looked like they were chewed on by something to make them sharp. Was it
Probably
chewed on? You
mice.
think? Mice, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, mice. They do it. Excuse me. But again, you know, we're talking. You know, you're talking food source, and to find a shed, like
Right
really
there.
not too far from there, and then
it's
that's
right
when we
there.
found that rock wall.
Yeah.
So finding everything, the rock wall over here, and then you have like, you know, the hut right here, and then the road. It just seems like everything's like dipping. You know, that it's like with these huts were. It's just such a perfect camouflage place.
Very strategic. Very strategic. Very
And we
smart.
found the water behind, just like not that far away from those huts.
Yeah. And I think they know some things because there's a property line right there. Isn't there a property line where things
Yes.
change? Wasn't there a blue mark? Mike, you've brought this up before. Like, what is your theory and then knowledge as far as where they are, landscape wise, human wise, property wise?
Oh, it's a tough one. I'm sure they know properties that are
Protected.
I mean, how do you? Well, like they watch us so much that they know who comes and goes in certain areas all the time or whatever. So if there's a homestead of many, you know, tens of acres or whatever, they watch it. They know only the families there. Or then I'm sure they're able to differentiate, you know, who controls what area.
Yeah,
right?
right.
And a lot of those are based on fences and walls and things like that.
And the Burks also brought that up too, Mike. They were talking about the blue markers and you know, it's kind of like their boundaries and what have you. But
Rich, did you say blue?
Well, I don't know if I was being specific either way,
Oh,
whether
okay.
I said it or not. But yeah, it's like what is it called? What was that? A bird sanctuary as well, or something? It was something. It was a wildlife sanctuary where we were at. There was no hunting or nothing. But I do remember there was blue flags or something by the rock wall. Why? What's with blue?
Oh, well, they say the Sasquatch like the color blue because it's like the rarest color in nature. So you find a lot of blue mylar balloons and things like that. So if you ever find a hut and it looks like it's been decorated, there's a lot of blue stuff and like a fake little fire pit that's never been used.
Wow.
Right.
Oh, that's interesting.
Manipulative stuff.
Patty Burke, please come in, Patty Burke. Patty
We
Burke,
might
was
as
there
well dress up as the Blue Man Group going out in the woods.
Yeah.
no,
I mean-
no.
I mean, dude, they might like that. You never know. They might get some attention.
Exactly what I was gonna
Oh,
say.
that's Richie. They'll love us. Yeah, what's up,
Yeah, right.
guys?
And that's why I called on Patty Burke, because I think we had this discussion. She kept saying something about a color while we were out there, and here it is, hand of God.
That's it. Yeah, that's awesome.
We also notice a lot of blue trash used as markers off trash.
That's right.
Mhm.
Exactly.
She kept bringing it up, dude.
Yeah, the
Cool,
Blue
yeah.
Rapids.
Oh, the bush.
Yeah, that's right. The Bush beer.
There was blue. There was a Bud Light too that was blue, and she brought that up. She did on the way in.
She did. Yes.
Tons of cans that are blue, and they're all around the edges. And I didn't like there's human activity out there. As much beer as you find out there, you would think everybody's hanging out there, but there's nothing there, dude. There's a trail that you walk, and you have to be very specific to get to this place, and you best be wearing boots, man, that come up to your calves. It's no joke. It's not. This is big boy country out there, or big girl, however you want to look at it. You know what I mean? Like it's not the place where, you know, it's where these two crazy people go sitting at on a bumpy ass road in a four-wheel drive drinking Fireballs, but you don't want to walk across those power lines at night.
Then again, Richie, maybe those blue cans, Patty had too many of those because she kept falling down the whole way back.
No, we're gonna save that for next week too.
Yeah.
I got something special for them. Don't say nothing. Don't tell Patty or Walter. I promise. Okay. Don't say nothing.
We love secrets.
I really do. I have fun with this show. I enjoy the hell out of this show, and we are going to be wrapping up in a few minutes. But I want to show you what I did. So this is just another twist. It's just out of order, anyways. But anyways, I did. You know the Scaniverse when we saw Patty, Walter, and I bumped into them up in was it Lemon Star, and at an expo up there, and yeah, that one. I was gonna click the damn thing. I want to click it myself sometimes, producer lady. So he told us about Scaniverse, and Scaniverse is cool, man. You know, you can go out. I don't know how it would work actually with like ghosts and stuff. I mean, I don't know anything you can scan, you know, but if you can, what the hell? So when I go back up this week on Saturday, there's a feature out there that says you can do different sizes, what you're scanning, and one of them's a house feature, and I'm gonna scan the whole damn thing. Like, I'm just going to scan the whole damn thing and see where it comes from. So you'll see these pictures here. If everybody's still here, these are kind of like 3D type of effect. I can spin these all around in any direction I want. I can see depths of the ground. And one of the things I noticed, if you see on the right with my crazy little theory and white arrows, there's like almost like a little like S or U that I drew. But if you look where the arrow tips are, you can almost see a ridge line, like there was compression on the ground. Can you guys see that? Like right where the tip of the arrows are, like on the left, and then the one on the right I messed up. But stick to the ones on the left. You can almost see it. Can you see that, Mike?
I can't see much now. It's tough to see.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
I'm working my.
It's kind of tough, Mike, because you know with the leaves that are on there.
Well, the Scaniverse I felt picked up that little ridge line, and maybe better to show you in person. But that little ridge line right there, and getting used to using the Scaniverse, like I said, it just looked like. And besides, you know, I was kind of cheating a little bit because I laid in the thing, so I already knew that there was, you know, some kind of compression. You know what I mean? It had to be compression. I wasn't leaving this compression in compost. I guarantee you that. Me and Mike, we've been everywhere with compost. Compost is not easy to work with. It's not easy to stick things into. It's not easy to leave footprints behind. It's not easy to do any of that stuff. So to have weight move it to where I could see it being shaped like this, I'll get a better scan next time. But to me, that's what I saw.
Also, too, Rich, I think that first one that you noticed the compression. I was right there when you did it. But you also, there was like a thin layer of moss in there too. That the leaves were covering, and you're like, yeah.
That was the first one, and there was pine branches coming out of the ground
right
underneath the leaves. That's right. There was a patch of pine branch, and I think I believe that's on the video or one of the pictures, but we're going to get a little more into that next time. And the other thing is too, so I got a few minutes left of the show. So what I'm going to do is this. So Matt can kind of see what I'm saying on that. So it's pretty cool. But you know, again, I'm not here trying to convince in that sense. I'm just here to present and discuss. You know what I mean? I'm trying to convince myself. And that's all I can do. I can only try to convince myself. And the way I convince myself is with gaining knowledge, gathering evidence. I don't necessarily have to be 100% scientific. I'm just not. I don't have to be. There's other people for that. So for me, I'm looking at all these things. So next week when we get there, I have a list of things in my phone. I've been every day while I'm at work and stuff, I'll stop and type something in I think of. And one of the things is get better scans of these certain things, get better pictures of what Steve just brought up. So on the ground, Mike, I'm going to look and see if I have any on my phone. And after the show, I'll send it over to you. I got to try to see if I can catch it on video. It just looked like you almost couldn't pull them up. And I didn't want to be disrespectful and try to pull them up, to be quite honest with you. You know how I am with these things. I don't want to disrespect them in any way. So there was like a big circle of like perfectly fresh, like pine fern. What are those, like hemlocks even? Like it was like thick Christmas tree stuff. Yeah. And it was out of the ground, but it was still fresh. And you looked like you could lay on it like it was a bed. It was totally weird, dude. The place was nuts. So I'm going to get a little more specific when we go out there. Mary's saying, have a good night. She said, have a good what, Mary? Have a good what, Mary? Don't just jump off and just leave it as have a good. You're worrying me. This old age thing's killing us, kid. I love you, girl. Have a good night. That's my friend, Mary. Everybody say hi to Mary. That's going to be the new tradition on the show. Hi, Mary. All right. Thank you. I appreciate that. I love you, Mary. So I have a specific list, and what we're going to do is come back next week You want to be here. This is the hype. All right. Next week, I'm bringing back the Burks. I'm bringing back the Woj. And if Mike's available, I'd love you always to join me. I love Mike's perspective. So smooth, so balanced. You're already into this anyways now, kid. I mean, you might as well hang out with us, bro.
I got
You know what I mean?
I got plenty of room in my truck, Mike.
That sounds good, man. Yeah, I'm going to carve out some time real soon for some of this because
yes, you need to get out there with us.
Get to it, yeah.
It's just not the same without you there. Listen, no offense, Steve or the Burks. You know what I mean? Me and Mike go out and we hang and we chat and laugh and have
They
fun.
don't. Yeah, I don't think we can do our normal thing around other company, Rich.
You'll be surprised.
Yeah, they're all nuts too. Don't worry, bro.
Believe me.
We
I get
have
that
a lot.
vibe.
Yeah, we have a lot of good laughs out in the woods. And listen, even if you don't think that you're going to see Bigfoot or do whatever, get out with a friend, man. Go hiking. Get the hell out of your house. Stop with all the technology crap. Get the hell out of your house. Soak in some fresh air, man. Chilly, cold, warm, hot. Get the hell out of your house. It's a great time. It's exercise. You know?
Let's do that, man. Let's get out and let's shoot the shit for a couple hours. You know, just get rambunctious.
Right. Yeah. Just get,
You know, we could do some recon or whatever, and
absolutely.
then have a little cookout and drink our nips or whatever.
Patty, there you go. Patty Burke already thought of all this,
Yeah,
everybody.
right.
So, hey, next week, listen up. Exclusive. You guys are hearing it here first right now. I've talked about it the whole show. Patty and Walter Burke are coming back. But on the 6th, which is a Saturday, we're going out, me, Wojo, and where did I go? Me, Wojo, and the Burks. And we're going to go collect those recorders. And we're going to listen to them. And we're going to let you know what's on them, whatever that might be. You know what I mean? I'm going to get better scans of the area now that I've really dove into this aspect of this stuff. And we're gonna get better pictures of the location. We're gonna get in there and we got to look for hairs, and we got, like what Mike was talking, like if there's any twist, look in that twist. You know, it's already a proven technique that is successful at that. You know, we're gonna get into that. So I'm gonna look through that thing with a fine tooth. You know, what does that say? Fine tooth comb.
Yeah,
fine tooth. That's a fine tooth comb, boy. You know what I mean? I am gonna look deep into that. We're going to look deep into it, and we're going to get serious. Now, one more thing here before we go. What's this? This is Matt. When I find another hyperbolic air. Oh, I see. He calls it a hyperbolic air. Huh? Is that some some investigator lingo?
What?
Yeah, we're like a parabolic microphone. You know what I mean? He's like, when I found that, let's do Southern accents tonight. When I find another hyperbolic air, I'll have Steve bring it with him to use on nights you go in the forest. Dude, nobody said nothing about going in the damn forest at night. What, you crazy?
I'll just see the plastic cup and go,
What, you drinking fireballs with the Burks? They're the only crazy. I'm going out there at night. What's wrong with you? You can't carry guns in Massachusetts anyways. I'm just messing with you, bro. I'm just messing with you. I'm glad you hung out with us tonight. So listen, next week, 7:00, be here, man. There's going to be an update on Iceland. Remember that theory?
So just remember, everybody.
Oh,
believe in yourself.
There he is. Yeah, believe in yourself. Look at that.
My niece, she saw she saw one of Richie's pictures, and she's like, "You going squatching?" I was like, "How did you know?" She goes, "I was on Facebook." I go, "Facebook."
He's already.
Listen. I don't know what's out there. I'm just one of you guys. I want to see what's going on. So now I'm becoming an observer, because now it's really, for what we're seeing is like really fascinating stuff. And it's not because people influence me. It's just what I'm seeing. And so that's why I do wear this shirt with pride now.
Well, and that's the beauty of it. Like, again, that's a great point he brings up on the way out the door. Again, I'm not here to try to influence anybody or convince anybody of anything. I just want you to come out with me. I get your perspective. That's the beauty of it. I get your perspective. I don't need you to have my perspective, man.
Right.
I get your perspective. I'm gaining knowledge from Mike. I'm gaining knowledge from you. I'm gaining knowledge from Matt Moniz, Alex Petikoff. You know, I'm gaining what's this? Andrew Senior says he has that shirt. Of course you have that shirt. He's into it. I bet you have a bunch of shirts. Andrew, you should do a show just about your shirts, I bet. Because you just bought the Get Haunted, Haunted for the Homeless. Check that out too, everybody. Haunted for the Homeless was founded by a gentleman that was homeless, and I can relate with that unfortunate situation. At 14 years old, I was homeless, and he's doing good things. He's raising good money for good causes, warming centers, and supplies for the homeless, things like that. So, Haunts for the Homeless, right? Am I saying that right? Yeah, Haunts for the Homeless. So check that out. Go to the Get Haunted page. You can get some more information on that. Keep tuned into the P3 network. There's a bunch of cool podcasts on there. I know a few of them, but I don't want to just say the few of them. I want to say all of them, because these people are just really cool people that I've gotten to know. They have really kick-ass setups on their podcast. Make sure you're checking that stuff out. Thank you to Mike. Always, my brother. Always good to see you, man. I can't wait to get out in the woods. Wojo,
real pleasure meeting you, Mike.
I had a great
catch up soon, Steve. Yeah, we'll get out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I had a great time in Wojo yesterday out on my property. I get to see where it all started. I showed him that huge X, which we're going to show that picture of you with that huge X next week, I think.
Yeah.
That's a kick-ass picture. The only thing you're missing is like an American flag or something. You know what I mean? It's so nostalgic. But no, it's I want to thank you guys for being here. Thanks, as always, Bobby Lee. None of this happens without her. Absolutely not. Trust me, I was over here biting my fingernails. My beautiful fiance had to come down and calm me down. Mike would have been on the screen going, "It's okay, Rich. It's okay, Rich." Like in my first episode, "It's okay, bro. Don't jump." You know what I mean? But no, thank you everybody that takes part. My family for putting up with my crap. And definitely follow me on TikTok. Follow me on Instagram, right? Banter Richie B on Facebook. We're going to be here with, we're going to keep trying some live Instagram instead of the Facebook. So you're going to have to go over to YouTube and watch it, or Instagram and watch it. Definitely go to YouTube, though. Check out my YouTube channel. All these videos I spoke about tonight, the pictures that I spoke about tonight, are all on that channel. You can go there and just roam around. It's a fun channel. You can shoot comments. You can ask me questions. We will be here next week, 7 p.m., ready to talk with the Burks and Wojo. Wojo, you laying down? What happened? Steve, you there? What happened? Bobby Lee, did you do that? Did he leave?
No, I think he froze up like what happened to me the other day,
like
where I just went sideways. Man.
It's hit the floor.
Did Steve fall down? Dude, that's so good. Thanks, man, for taking part in this. And thank you guys on the side, of course, everybody jumping in and asking the question. This is your podcast. This is your couple of hours, too. So, unwind, forget about work, all that responsibility crap. Come hang out with us at Banter with Richie B podcast. Sorry, I just looked over.
He's just gone too.
I was to leave in the room, and he come back and he's sideways. I'm like, what'd you guys do to him? But that happened to Bobby Lee, so I thought she was like messing with him, or he was messing with me, or too many millilights. Anyways, thank you guys so much. We'll be here next week. Thank you again, Mike Trader. You're the man.
Yeah, take it easy, man. I'll catch you soon. Have a good night.
Appreciate you, bro. See everybody later. Get some sleep. Get some rest.